the neighborhood tough guys, the Zulu Nation, everybody pretty much claimed the Bam because of who he was, because of the Zulu Nation, and everybody that you looked up to was a part of the Zulu Nation. So that was the magnet for Bam. You had the Zulu Nation, the meetings where we would gather once a week and have the universals or whatever the case may be, and pretty much Bam was a celebrity. Everybody looked up to him, did positive things, said positive things. He had a lot of
But I'm talking specifically like you're 12 years old. So like when I think of me being 12 years old, I wake up, might turn on some cartoons or might do whatever, and then go outside to play with me and my friends did Barbie dolls and things like that. So I'm really trying to get to a typical day in a child's life where he would be victimized by a predator. Not really bambot. Well, it is bambot, but you know what I'm saying? Like how you
okay.
were when you were that age, your life at that age. And kids, even though something may be going wrong with them, kids are still happy. Like sometimes you don't know what's going on. So I'm really trying to get to how, as a 12-year-old, you would end up at that apartment, like how that would happen through a day or the weekend, or, you know what I'm trying to say? Get it?
You know what? It's weird because I don't really remember the first time I went to Bam's house, but what I do remember is my mother be sending me to the store, and I supposed to come right back from the store, and I would always end up at his house. I would take my time.
Now, as for his house, if you left your building to go to the store, his house is you're passing his house, or do you have to go out of your way to his house? Like how? And then
No, I would actually have to pass. Going to the store, I would walk maybe, let's say, 250 feet to his building, and the store's past his building. So I have to walk past his building to get to the store. And Bam House was the fun house. It started off being the fun. It's the hip hop house. Parties, everybody that you looked up to is always there. It was fun. It wasn't always like it. It started off a bad thing. Bam was a hero.
That's okay.
Bam was a heroic figure in our community. So to be around him, to do the parties and just hanging out at his house, it was fun. Everybody was there.
So so when you were there, it would be I heard a lot of the discourse and going back and forth. So everybody, especially the black space, we didn't deal with age back then. So it would be like all ages. And is it mostly young men there? Like were any girls hanging out there at all?
I mean, when you go to Bam House, you might see anybody around. I've ran into Queen Latifah in Bronx River, Ice T, Ice Cube, all types of celebrities being with Bam. So you might see anybody in Bam's house. Everybody loved Bam.
Okay, so let's talk about when the abuse would happen. And I remember the video you did of that kid who had like mentally not developed or whatever. I'm trying
Oh
to
yes, it probably is.
okay, I was like, see something.
Sweat.
Oh, you know what I'm trying to get to is how it would happen, and if it was that many people around, are they around when it's happening? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Okay.
Without trying to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to see what was going on.
Okay, I gotta get over the nervousness of the
Okay.
camera. That's what it is too. All right. So well, I'll give you one of the first situations.
Maybe I'm tripping. Was Hassan talking about another kid when he told the story about Bam messing with a child that was mentally challenged? Or was he talking about B Stinger and he really never wanted to admit it? Because he always seemed like, envious of B Stinger. He had a lot of hate resentment towards B Stinger because B Stinger came out. Right, he didn't have a right to do so. It's weird. Um, But were they? Because I always found it weird that they wouldn't have stories about them being together at any point in time. But bam, and I think that they were, but I think B Singer didn't want to, elaborate on any of that because of all the hostility the song was already showing. Different ways he was trying to sell your line and this and that. But I wonder if that's who he was actually talking about because he told us about Bam and a mentally challenged boy that Bam was messing with. Messing with children is sick in itself, but you are definitely sick when you want to jerk off with them and you want to put your mouth on them. Like that's your main thing. You just can't wait to get just enough past me so you get right in front of me. And that is the sickest thing in the world. It makes me so mad that they do this. And these are trucks. Truck drivers. Truck drivers. They can barely pass me. And they want to get just past me, just enough. So they can get right in front of me. Like that is the most dangerous thing. And it leaves me no other choice but to fall back to create that space. It really makes me want to hurt somebody. It really does. They do this all day, every day. And I think they ask you to be snatched over by the cops. And get fines that'll stop their ass. And I'm getting ready to start making some noise about this shit. They be damn near touching your ass. Then you got to fall back. They create all that necessary space. That's just messing you up. Your whole everything. Especially if you got some weight on you. Try to pick back up too. Then just everybody just coming through the same thing. Get in front of it. Get in front of it. Get in front of it. And the cars ain't gonna never stop doing it if they see trucks doing it. That's what I'm blowing every time. I'm blowing it every time. Like I guess I'll be doing this shit all night long. I don't care. You wrong as hell. You can get away with all that. And you watching them do it. You watching them do it, and you know good and hell well. As soon as they get barely past you, they're gonna get in front of you. Some sucker shit. Cause nigga, I'll beat your motherfucking ass in the ground. Have this shit.
On what side of the Bronx, playing that Cedric is Bumbada facing new allegations. This from a jiu-jitsu champion too. I don't know why he didn't kick his ass, but I guess because he was only 16 at the time. He said,
Asia, Paige, what's your pregame ritual? Mine? Shower cake. Me? Pregame Titleist. Well, my real secret is Secret Candle. What? Me too. Secret has 3 times the sweat protection versus ordinary antiperspirant.
I don't know. This Terry Seuss Entertainment bids. I wanted to talk about the allegations against Africa being.
That's the
Now, if you look at the history of rap music, the history of hip hop,
Stop scrolling reports are circulating that hip hop.
Shut up.
If African Bambaataa ever get convicted, right? Would you? So this question is actually from Facebook, and it comes from.
Some more videos down. Great. I wondered if we that hit my video. I'm not making no.
What side of
was good for that. And I know he's doing it now with anybody that's in playing any of his V-Mass. Bambaataa stuff. I know he getting channels for that. Like, if they gonna watch any Bambaataa stuff, they coming straight to me. And I don't blame him. But he hits anyway. That's why people be like, I'm not finna play some first video. Some situation.
So just follow my logic as we're discussing this. So let's start when you were a young boy and a typical day in your, not in your household, but a typical day, how you would end up at Bambaata's house. Like, was it school? Like, would it be like summertime, or would you go to school and then you end up over there? So let's talk about a typical day in your household and how, through at some point in that day you would end up at his house. Because the way it sounds to me is that was kind of like a regular hangout, not just for you, but for quite a few kids.
Growing up at Bronx River, pretty much how it would go, the music, the parties, the neighborhood tough guys, the Zulu Nation, everybody pretty much claimed to Bam because of who he was, because of the Zulu Nation. And everybody that you looked up to was a part of the Zulu Nation. So that was the magnet for Bam. You had the Zulu Nation, the meetings where we would gather once a week and have the universals or whatever the case may be. And pretty much, Bam was a celebrity. Everybody looked up to him, did positive things, said positive things. He had a lot of.
But I'm talking specifically like you're
But
12
he was
years old.
answering the question.
So like when I think of me being 12 years old, I wake up, might turn on some cartoons or might do whatever and then go
She
outside.
got on my nerves with that. He was answering the question. He was building up to
I'm really trying to get to a typical day.
And I think he was doing a good job.
And be victimized by a
Because
predator.
the parts
I
that
really
he's using
Bambaataa.
to feel
It is Bambaataa, but
it's important.
like how
Okay.
when you were that age,
She got on my nerves.
your life at that age. And kids, even though something may be going wrong with them, kids are still happy. Like sometimes you don't know what's going on. So I'm really trying to get to how, as a 12-year-old, you would end up at that apartment.
He was telling
like how that would happen through a day or the weekend, or you know what I'm trying to say? Get it?
You know what? It's weird because I don't really remember the first time I went to Bam's house. But what I do remember is my mother be sending me to the store, and I supposed to come right back from the store, and I would always end up at his house. I would take my time.
Now, as for his house, if you left your building to go to the store, his house is, you're passing his house, or do you have to go out of your way to his house? Like how? And then
No, I would actually have to pass. Going to the store, I would walk maybe, let's say, 250 feet to his building, and the store is past his building. So I have to walk past his building to get to the store. And Bam House was the fun house. It started off being the fun. It's the hip hop house. Parties, everybody that you looked up to is always there. It was fun. It wasn't always like it started off a bad thing. Bam was a hero. Funny.
That's okay.
Bam was a heroic figure in our community. So to be around him, to do the parties and just hanging out at his house, it was fun. Everybody was there.
He was trying to say.
So when you were there, it would be. I heard a lot of the discourse and going back and forth. So everybody, especially the black state, we didn't deal with age back then. So it would be like all ages. And is it mostly young men there? Like, were any girls hanging out there at all?
I mean, when you go to Bam House, you might see anybody around. I've ran into Queen Latifah in Bronx River, Ice T, Ice Cube, all types of celebrities being with Bam. So you might see anybody in Bam's house. Everybody loved Bam.
This whole
So let's talk about
age, that's an excuse to that's what people say as an excuse to be around children and teens so you can mess with them. all of them who say that. And they know it. I don't care if they deny it, they know it. Because that's exactly what went down. I don't care where you come from, what state you lived in, what city. At any kind of time you had an environment where adults was letting children and teens hang around them, especially on a regular basis. Well, either or, because special occasions could make it even better because they'll be like, "Oh, we get to hang with the adults," so they gonna be super humble. But that's their raggedy tails using that as an excuse. You ain't had no business letting them children and no teens hang around you. Only did it because you want them in the environment, in that party environment, and vulnerable to access them. Start grooming it for you to, and it be so common that that you got people like R. Kelly 27 writing songs for Leah 15 talking about age ain't nothing but a number while he's also marrying her. Going down ain't nothing but a thing. What? She's 15.
Yeah. The abuse, what happened. And I remember the video you did of that kid who had like mentally not developed or whatever. Let's see. I'm trying to see this.
It probably is.
Okay, I was like, I see something.
Sweat.
You know what I'm trying to get to
Right.
is how it would happen, and if it was that many people around, are they around when it's happening? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Okay.
Without trying to put words in your mouth, I'm trying to see what was going on.
Okay, I gotta get over the nervousness of the camera.
Okay.
That's what it is too. All right. So well,
No, he's doing a
I
good
give you
job.
one of the first situations with Bam being in his house. It was me and a few of my other close friends, and we was in the weight room in the middle room, the room next to the bathroom on the 7th floor. There was a weight room in there, and we was lifting weights in the room, and Bam would come into the room and basically say, "Hey, let me take a picture of you guys." And then, we take a picture, we flexing our muscles, showing our muscles and stuff. So then he gets real creepy with the hey, why don't you take off your shirt? And we all feeling kind of funny. And he's convincing us to take off our shirt to show our muscles. And, shortly after that, we would leave. Then from there, he starts putting the porno on, letting the porno play and telling you that, you're supposed to jerk off. That's how he breaks you in. You're supposed to jerk off. This is what you're supposed to do as a man. Then he pops the picture book open. And now when he pops the picture on book open, it's like, whoa, you seeing, I'm not gonna call no more names out because I pretty much heard a lot of people doing that, and I promise I wouldn't do it no more. It's inconsiderate because when you look at the picture book, the people in the picture book was actually underage. Now, most of them, that I looked up to may have been 10 years older than me. So you actually see the stair steps, some of them 5, some of them 10, some of them, you get what I'm going as far as like the stair steps. So when you look through the book, you're like, whoa, he got this one in the book. He's a killer. He got this one in the book. He's a killer. He got this one. You seeing people that you really look up to. And, these are warriors. Like, wow.
Describe what you're seeing in the book. You don't have to name any names, but so what's so wow about it for the audience who may not have heard what you covered with Star on his show? What's in the book?
What's in the book is pretty much him taking photos of these guys with their pants down. Everybody has their pants down or they're butt naked in the book.
What is the background? Where are these people? Can you tell from or remember from these pictures where these pictures were taken? Like what's behind them, or they all at his apartment?
In his apartment, in hotel rooms. You can tell from either the apartment or the hotel room.
So if you and you had to be, you and your friends would have, by the time you were even born, like they're already in the mix. So by the time you're 12 years old, it's already a huge culture going on around him. You see what I'm saying? Like you're not old as Lord Sharif, where he could say, "Oh, I was there when this started and when that started." When you become 12 years old, it's already a lot of stuff going on. So when you're at the apartment with your friends, and he would start trying to break you all in and grooming you and making you more comfortable, starting with the pictures. Then what would happen? And when you say Bam's house, are you talking about his house at that point, or is this the apartment where he lived with Ahmed?
This is the apartment where he lived while I met.
And so where would he be when these pictures are being taken?
Sometimes Ahmed would be right like this is Ahmed's room, this is Bam room, just that close. You really like you just this I mean, he's right here, he's right here. Not even 3 feet away. So Ahmed would be in the next room, even though, me and Ahmed had a talk and he tried to tell me that, most of the time I wasn't there. There's times he wasn't there, and there's times he was there. I don't care what he say, he knew what was going on. He was never that. The one thing I will say on his behalf, he was never in the room when any of this was going on, but he was there.
Another problem that I really like, I have many problems with this whole thing. Another problem that I have would be how I'm not sure if you said it, but definitely Savage and then another person were talking about another, like he would bring another man in the room and then another man came. So it's like, how many people, you don't have to name names, do you think was taking part in this? Other adults, other people. And when I say adult, I mean 17 and over, where they could be charged as an adult. Like adults were participating in this, not just Bambata. How many do you think it was?
I can't really give you an actual number, but it was more than enough. You see what I'm saying? Mm, I would say in New York, Bam had at least about a good 30 brothers that knew exactly what he was doing, that took place in what he was doing. No exaggerating, maybe more than that.
But that also took part in it too.
That was taking part. See, I won't say about 30 of them took part with me. I won't say that. But from what I've seen and being in that house, it was quite enough of them. More than enough. More than enough of them knew what was going on with him.
Without going, I mean, well, you can go there if you wanted to, because I'm trying to see what did you go through, if you even remember being so young. What kind of changes did you go through after this experience with him, around the first few, 1, 2 times? Do you remember if you had any changes that your mom may have been able to pick up on, or anybody else?
Me going through what I went through with Bam, see, what people don't understand is I was already broken in before I got to Bam. I was being molested before Bam even got to me. So it was like I couldn't really go talk to my mother about it. I didn't know how to talk to her about it. So I just kept it to myself. And the signs probably was there, the bed wetting, because I pretty much was wetting the bed, all types of stuff was going on with me. But going to my mother and actually saying that to her, the first thing I'm thinking about is, all right, I'm going to tell my mother that Bam is molesting me and he has an army around him. There's nothing. My family claims to be tough and they're fighters, but they're no Zulu Nation, nowhere near it. So for me to even go to my mother and say, hey, this is what's going on, it's not, that's not something I was going to do. It's not going to happen.
Okay, let's talk about the Zulu Nation and as an army and that kind of thing. Now, I'm from Chicago. I'm from the projects. So I'm not getting it. Like I don't get it. So you have a person who everybody is, I love how everybody's like, oh, I heard these rumors for decades. Yeah, I love how everybody's saying it. So you have this person who is
What?
rumored to be not only just a closeted homosexual, but he is actually making outward passes at other young men or whatever. I'm not sure, so far I haven't heard anybody admit to. I've heard rumors of him being a child molester for decades. They've only said they've heard rumors of him being gay. So so he would surround himself with these hardcore brothers. So where did that leave the rest of the people in the project who are not in the Zulu Nation? So they're just like, I can't understand why nobody put a stop to this. Like, even people in the zoo, like, he couldn't have been getting paid that much. Like, they couldn't have been eating that fat off of him.
Here's the thing with the Zulu Nation. For one, most of the Zulu Nation, I'm not gonna say he got everybody, but he got damn
What
near
is he
everybody.
putting to stop to?
Most of the Zulu Nation went through these phases of being molested by Bam. You have some dudes talking about, oh, that's a lie. Well, like I said, if he didn't touch you, he wasn't attracted to him, or he wasn't attracted to you rather. And there was stories I've heard of people trying to tell on Bam and disappearing. This was not the first time somebody said something about Bam. So now, what it is, I'll give you an example. You have some brothers that was sitting in a small park in Bronx River, and they was gossiping about Bam being a pedophile. And shortly after that, some Zulus ran up on them, and that had never happened again. Because it's the end of the story. Zulu Nation was nothing to play with. You might have a tough guy here and there. No, in Zulu Nation, you had some real strong brothers that will hurt you real bad. So when you the average person just running your mouth, you're not a Zulu. So pretty much, the gossip about Bam and talk about what he's doing, when for one, he's feeding people. He's feeding the right people, but he's pigeon feeding them. And the ones that's feeding themselves, like the Mickey Vincents that's running around with Ice T, that used to be down with Fat Joe and all the rest of these other artists he's been dealing with, you know, he's eating off of the name. So now if you affect the name, you affecting his pocket. What is he gonna do? The same thing he did in the phone conversation with Ron Savage. Shut up, nigga. You knew you liked it. What you mean he liked it?
So I hear these people, a lot of them saying how they all know you. You came up, they make no qualms, but that you like a real G from Bronx River, from the Zulu Nation. None of them have called you a liar or anything like that. I just can't understand. It's not registering in my brain how they all say that this was news to them. You coming forward last year was news to them. And then I'll move on from that, because there's a few more things I wanted to cover. But I just find it hard to believe that that nobody knew what was going on with you, and not just you, but it sounded like it was a whole bunch of other kids. And how could they all say that I had no idea?
Anybody that says that they had no idea what was going on with Bam is a liar. Tafiq, supposed to be Bam's cousin, he was molested by Bam. I witnessed it. His younger brother was molested by Bam. I witnessed it. There's another brother that I'm not going to mention his name. I've mentioned his name before. It was me, him, and Tafiq's brother all in the room like a big orgy with porno playing on, and Bam with Vaseline in his hand trying to jerk all three of us off. You see what I'm saying? So as far as people talking about they don't know what happened, Bam had groups. Yeah, in Bronx River, there's sections. You have like the dark side, up the hill, down the hill. Bam had groups of young boys that he was molesting at a time. This group leave, he got this group coming in. You had the group where they used to always, I'm not going to mention their name because I promise I won't mention no more names, because people have children now, so I got to be considerate. And at the time,
And for legal purposes, don't mention it, because I would have to beep it out anyway.
and at the time, these guys, I mean, you're 15, 16 years old, you're driving Bam's truck. You ain't driving this truck for nothing. If you on show, I mean, if you do tours with Bam and you traveling with him, you're sleeping with him. It ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. You're not going into hotel rooms with Bam and he's not trying you. So when people sit up there and say, I remember when I was younger, my brain was fried. One of the brothers in the projects, he was like, you running around with Bam? And he started going into, yeah, Bam a faggot, right? That was his words. And me at the time, yeah, I was being molested by Bam, but I also told him. So he ain't never say that again. Bam sent his little soldiers at him. Everybody knew. The adults in the projects would talk and they would say and whisper to the fact, this is when I started, because my mother never really let me go outside. She called herself being overprotective, but she really wasn't overprotective. You can't go outside. You sending me to the store, I'm going outside. Or you go to the neighbor's house to go play spades, and I'm gonna run outside while my uncle probably in the room. I'm running out the house anyway, and I'll slip back in. So you always heard the stories of stay out of that apartment. After now, this is when I'm hearing it after. And for me, I'll be honest with you, my mother, dealing with my mother wasn't easy. I had issues at home too. Not saying my mother was a bad mother, but my father not being there and my mother always being angry, we had issues with each other. So Bam House was sort of like the outlet, but the spanking at the same time. Like I said before, Bam was like the uncle that paid your way to college and molested you at the same time. You'll get molested and go to the amusement park. This is what Bam does. A lot of people in Bronx River was going through poverty. You got the dope era and you got the crack era, and he took advantage of it. He swooped through like the savior, help people, because one thing I will say about him, you'll always hear, if I call Bam on the phone and I say, yo, I need something, he gonna give it to you. That's the type of person he is. But at the same time, he's that uncle that paid the way to college and molested you at the same time. And some people, I ain't gonna say her name,